Hi guys, sorry for the late upload. I've been busy this week with finals. So today I'm going to talk about how Trump wasn't that far off from winning. So here's the map, by the way, of this election. As you can see, there's the ratings for each single state. I'll come back to this in just a second. I'm going to cook report, which is really good since it gives you exact margins as well as seen in all of these states. So as you can see, Joe Biden won by a decent margin, and in the popular vote especially. He won by 81 million votes, or 51.3, and 81 million looks like a lot, but when you put into percentages, 51 versus almost 47, it's not that much. And while Trump won 46.9 and 74 million, Joe Biden 306 and Trump 232. Overall, Trump did better than in the popular vote compared to 4 years ago because he won 12 million more voters than 4 years ago. And this election, at the moment, the turnout is the highest since 1900 at 66.7% of the population voting. Perspective, more than 25 million people voted in this election compared to the one 4 years ago. Funnily enough, something, I found really quite interesting is that Romney actually got a higher percentage in 2012, 47.2, than Trump in his re-election bid. But okay, so back to this. Wisconsin, Georgia, and Arizona were all raise their thing, as seen by 0.6% Wisconsin, Arizona 0.3, and 0.3 as well for Georgia. And if Trump would have only got 1% of the popular vote, or in these three states, this would have been a really different election. For example, if he would have won all those three, let's just put it into the map. Let's say he wins narrowly in Wisconsin, Arizona, and Georgia. As you can see, that's 269 versus 269 tie, meaning there would be an Electoral College tie, which is by far the biggest nightmare scenario in politics. So many of you are asking, what happens when there's an Electoral College tie? Well, we have a solution from the 1700s to help us fix this problem. So basically what happens, the House of Representatives breaks the tie. But here's the catch. Instead of all representatives getting one vote each state has one vote. So this would mean that Wyoming would have one vote and California would also have one vote, meaning that both of them would have the same electoral power. They would have the same electoral power. And it would heavily favor the GOP. And the problem is with blue states, they are heavily populated, like California and New York, while red states are more, they don't have that many people and they're more dispersed around this section of the map. And, giving Wyoming, California the same voting power would be incredibly unfair, since if there's a 269 tie, this would mean that 50% of the population in these blue states would only have 20% of the voting power if there would be a tie, while red states, who are way more dispersed, have less population per state, would get 80% of the voting power in an Electoral College tie, meaning that Republicans would heavily outnumber Democrats and just put Trump back into office with. And what about the vice president? Well, he's actually decided by the Senate, which is Republican at the moment. But chances are Mike Pence would be Donald Trump's vice president. And this is just an unfair, broken system riddled with ties everywhere and would heavily favor the GOP. And, this is why the Democrats nominated Joe Biden. He was the best candidate by far in the party. I'm not mystifying him, giving him a legacy saying he's the best person in politics, but he's overall the best of the Democratic Party. And let's say in 2016 or 2020, let's say the Democrats would have nominated Bernie Sanders, which for a time it was looking like he would be the nominee. And I just can't see a way for him to win because, all the flip states, you know, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, and you could argue Nevada, would all be way more tighter and have less turnout. Trump said Biden was a scapegoat for socialism, which is just pure nonsense. He said that quite a lot in Florida, and look what happened. And it was really good for the Republican Party. Even they couldn't believe they did that good in Florida. Furthermore, I do believe that Arizona would have gone red, just barely though. I do believe that the main thing, or one of the main reasons why it went blue, was because of John McCain's family endorsement. Since John McCain and Joe Biden had a really, really good relationship in the Senate, which of course helped Joe Biden here, won him the state. And I don't believe they would have endorsed a socialist like Bernie Sanders, since he's just too far to the left for them, while Joe Biden is not. Well, for Georgia, I do think that it would have been closer. I do think it would have gone red for sure. I do believe Georgia would have just narrowly go for the Republicans, mostly because of one thing. Yes, Bernie Sanders could have done even better with younger population, but having Bernie Sanders on the opposing ticket for Trump would have gotten him even more turnout, which would have counteracted all the work in Arizona and Georgia, and just would have helped him just narrowly make Georgia a tilt state for him. And even then, let's say Bernie Sanders got Georgia, there's still like a couple flip states that could have gone either way. For example, I do think that Bernie Sanders, he would have done decent with the white collar worker. So I do think, would have been Michigan would have stayed right like that. But Trump's turnout against a socialist would have been way higher. Not higher by a lot, but do you believe he would have won Wisconsin and Pennsylvania? I do think it would have gone for Bernie Sanders narrowly, and this would be the map. This would be 269 tie. And let's say, as I said before, Georgia goes for Bernie Sanders. I strongly believe that Trump would have contested this state quite a lot, as he has with the whole election, calling mail votes illegal. And furthermore, he would have had a better chance to push this into the Supreme Court, and probably could have been a repetition of Bush v. Gore 2000. And this is why Democrats went for someone like Joe Biden. He was able to get even some of the anti-Trump Republican voters for him, like the McCain family, and gave him that narrow edge that he needed with turnout as well. And turnout will always favor the Democrats. I will say one thing: the only person I could have maybe seen being as successful like Joe Biden maybe could have been Pete Buttigieg, but he just he would have been the closest to that margin that Joe Biden got, but I don't think he would have been able to get near that. But he would have been the best second choice for the Democrats, and we will likely see him in the ticket in the future. Most likely in the next ticket that does not include Joe Biden. So Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, I wouldn't be surprised if that happens 8 years from now. And overall, he was, Joe Biden was the best candidate in the pool. I'm not saying he's perfect in every single way, but overall, out of all the Democrats, he was the best one. There's a reason why out of all the 50 states, 44 swinged to the left. But either a narrow margin or a 8-point margin or a 9-point margin, like Colorado 8.6 to the left, or Vermont 9 points to the left compared to 2016, and Nebraska's 2nd district, same thing, almost 9 points to the left. There were barely any states that swung, or I should say, swinged to the right. For example, the main one was Florida, and Florida ever since 2008 has been going more to the right, mostly because of the fact that older white folk are from all across the country just love Florida and are moving here by a lot. There were other smaller states that voted more Republican, Illinois, Arkansas, Utah, only voted more for Trump due to the fact there was no third party candidate, unlike 2016. California, which is nothing unexpected, and Hawaii, who voted 2.7% more for Trump, but that's just for higher turnout. But do I think that Joe Biden will run in 2024? I doubt it, but he has stated before that he wants to run in 2024. But he would be like, I think he will be 82 by then, which that's on the older side for our president. But it would depend a lot on his health and his family. Imagine your grandpa being president at age 82, and potentially him wanting to be president until 85, 86. But I'm sure that Kamala Harris will push Joe Biden to step out, and just have one term, because of the fact that she wants for Joe Biden to pass the baton to her. While for Trump, I don't. Do I see him having a campaigning and gaining money for, his organization? Let's just say, I can see that, yes. But do I actually see him wanting to be the nominee and getting enough votes to run for president? No, I just don't see him being able to run or wanting to run because of the fact that he has so many legal problems. Even if you're a Republican, he has so many legal accusations that it's impossible to look the other way. And even if he somehow he swerves all those cases, the reputation would just hamper the Republican Party, and he wouldn't be the best candidate. And as it stands, in states like Georgia and Arizona at the moment, let me put this back. In states like this, in which Joe Biden narrowly won, there's a schism within the GOP. For example, in Arizona, and they're stating that, half of them are stating, hey, Trump should just stay as president, put this in the Supreme Court, because half of the GOP over there think, hey, Democrats clearly cheated according to them, even though there's no evidence of that at all. While the other half of the GOP is like, okay, so Joe Biden won by an okay margin, he's president-elect, that's how it is. And that's the schism we are seeing. And you could argue only in these two states, but this schism is going to become more wider, because there's going to be hardcore Trumpists saying Joe Biden is not our president. Well, the other half are going to say, hey, he won, and that's how it is. And that's the problem in the Republican Party, which will affect the Georgia Senate races, and it will affect 2024 nominee. And I wouldn't be surprised if in 2024 there's a third candidate running as independent. We're talking about one Democrat versus a Republican and then a Trumpist, which will give the Democratic nominee an easy win. And all of this will affect Georgia by a lot. Loeffler, sorry if I mispronounced her name, and Perdue are in a really awkward situation. Which, for me at the moment, I believe that the map for the Senate, Georgia special election, is narrowly, in my opinion, going to go for Warnock, and that's in the regular election. I believe that it's a true toss-up at the moment due to this schism that is currently happening. Okay, that was it for today's video. Sorry guys for being a bit late on my upload, but had finals. Just want to say thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and see you next time.